That's a benefit of the rooms and being in those walls with people like us. You know what I mean? We get to hear people share, and we get to realize that we're not the only ones that we're doing these slightly outrageous things on a daily basis, hurting the people around us, hurting ourselves. You know, we weren't crazy. This isn't something, we're not that super unique one in a billion type of thing. Like, this is something that afflicts a lot of us. We all go through it, and there's a way for us all to get better if we want it. Yeah. You know? So that's just one of those great things about being in those rooms. You're not as crazy as you think.
I enjoy being in rooms. I feel like I'm part of something in them rooms, just as much as the alcohol made me feel a part of something.
Right.
When I'm in a meeting, I feel like I am part of something, and I'm part of somebody's life, and they're part of mine. Right. And I listen to every story in there, and I tell you what, I have been just about everybody's place there, and if not, I sympathize with everybody.
Right.
Yep. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you hear your story and their story.
Yeah.
You know, you hear those feelings that you felt, and those emotions that you had when they tell their stories, you know, or the feelings that they had. You go, wow, you know, I didn't know somebody else felt like that.
The only thing that gets me is I wish I would have got this when I was 22 or 23 years old. Yeah.
I still don't understand how they do that, Wayne, because a 22-year-old Raymel wouldn't have been having any parts of you telling him that he can't drink, smoke.
I was told, I was sit down, and I was ordered not to drink, and I wasn't having it.
Well, that's why, yeah, I mean, it almost, that's the problem with it, is that's the kicker, is that you don't know when somebody's bottom is going to happen. Yeah. You have no idea. There's nothing that you can say to somebody out there that's going to get them to stop.
There really isn't.
You know, you have to go through it, and you have to be so desperate that you're willing to not drink and to try something different.
And it's hard to get, well, I won't say it's hard, but it's rare for your life to hit that rock bottom that early on in your life. Usually when you're in your early 20s, you still think like, well, you know, things are bad, but they're not terrible. You might have got locked up, but you'll get out, or you might have lost your girlfriend.
This is my first DUI, but all my friends have a DUI.
Right.
So.
Oh, I lost my wife, but we've only been married a year. I probably shouldn't have married her in the first place. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And you get a little older, and you start losing some things that took you a decade to get. And then you start looking at it like, oh, threw away that 10 years, huh? All right.
That's the big thing that the programs do for you, you know, because I see a lot of, because I look at what people are searching for if they're looking for information within recovery. Mm-hmm. And one of the top things that people look for is, how do I quit on my own? You know, how do I quit by myself? How do I quit and not go to rehab?
Right.
You know, those type of things. And some people, I'm sure, can do that. But for most, you've got to take that extra step and go into, if you have to go to rehab, go to rehab. Because I tell you what, the best thing I ever did was I didn't go to rehab, but I went to the behavioral hospital.
Right.
And going in there it got me on the track. It got me, like you were talking about earlier, how when you're in it, it's hard to see past it. You know, it's hard to see outside of it and think straight.
Right.
But it gets you to that point. One, it gets you to that point to where you can start thinking straight. The other great thing about it is you don't have to do it on your own.
Right.
And you got some they give you drugs to help you come off that stuff.
Right.
So you're not, you're not having the sweats, and you're not, you know what I mean? Like, you're coming off of it pretty quick. They're giving you fluids. They're doing all these things for you.
Yeah, you don't feel so sick.
So that's the other reason. So, and I don't know why I drank so that way I wouldn't feel any pain. So if I'm going to get off of it, I'm definitely going to go for a way to be comfortable. And it does. It helped me be comfortable. And then it gave me tools, and it said, okay, because the biggest thing for me was I saw a psychiatrist in there.
Right.
And when I saw a psychiatrist, they were able to put me onto the medications like you were talking about. And with that, those medications, now I couldn't drink even if I wanted to.
Right.
So if you get to that point where you really want to quit, you should really consider going into a program or checking yourself into a behavioral hospital or a regular hospital and seeking professional help, so that way they can give you, like that medication is doing for you, that shot is you're using it as a crutch. Well, you use that as a crutch, just,
Right.
in the beginning, just to get you clear headed, get you some tools underneath your belt. So that way you have something to grab from. Because otherwise I wouldn't stay sober if I didn't have the tools. That's the main thing, is like what you said right there about putting it out there and being accountable. Being accountable, what you've done is you were given tools to recognize that you needed accountability, mindfulness of it, to say,
Absolutely.
so you wouldn't have got that if you didn't go into a program.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have to see other people doing it. If you're like me, I had to see other people going through it too. I had to see other people thinking like the way I was thinking that I would never get off of it, and see them do it. And then, or see people worse off than I was in worse situations.
That part. I needed the stories.
Yeah.
I needed to hear the stories and the shares.